let's then continue with today's topic. And today we are talking about how to manage sales of IT services. My name is Rolands Ozoliņš. I'm Business Growth Strategist and trainer at IBD Consulting. So, but why are we talking about how to manage services of how to manage sales of IT services? And for me, it's very personal because you know, and some of you know these statistics because I've been sharing it quite a bit. According to Eurostat data, in Eastern Europe, the value added per employee is perhaps 2 to 5 times less than in countries such as Germany, Sweden, or Belgium, right? And I don't know what it is, but my belief is that big part related to this problem is how we sell and market IT services. And this is why I have taken it as my own mission to help IT service companies in Central Eastern Europe sell and market their products better, charge higher price, make more profits, grow their business, pay more taxes, and it's a win-win basically for everyone, starting from companies, company owners, to actually economies where these companies are working. So today's agenda is following. I will talk about how to manage IT service sales with the sales process and what sales process is, why do you need it. Then I will briefly talk about doing outreach, because outreach is something that IT service companies very often like to do and use as a way to grow their business. Then I will talk about very important concept, which talks about how to sell services as products. Then at the end, I will briefly talk about myself and my company and the offer we have for you. And we will finish with Q&A. If you stay until end of webinar, I will send you also links to webinar recordings of how to sell IT services. So this I did at the end of August, and how to sell services as products. So both are approximately 30 minutes webinar, just like today. All right. Let us now look at modern revenue generation process in company who is approaching it seriously, who is investing a lot, and so on. And in this process, there are several parts. The process starts with marketing, generating leads, passing them over to sales. Then we have sales process, and obviously sales process is something that we are focused on today. And then follows customer success management, basically making sure that customer is successful, that customer can benefit from our services, that they can train users, so that basically they are happy and they keep on paying us for support or for maintenance of our service and so on. And sales, of course, is just a part of this revenue generation process, but specifically today we are, of course, focusing on sales process. So very often, if you talk about sales process, people mix two things together: sales process and CRM. And CRM is not a sales process. If you use, let's say, sales process as it comes by default, let's say in Pipedrive or in other CRM tools, and here is illustration how it typically looks. Well, with that kind of sales process, probably you can sell simple services such as, I don't know, maybe plumbing services or fixing refrigerators or something like that. It's not really useful for selling complex IT services, right? And CRM is something that should reflect and support your sales process, right? CRM is not sales process. And implementing CRM doesn't mean that you have implemented sales process, right? So first you have to figure out how your sales process should look like, and then you can implement it in CRM. And then CRM would be supporting specifically your own sales process. All right, but why bother at all? Why to think, why to spend time, effort, money on implementing sales process? Well, you see, first of all, sales process allows you to manage your sales much, much better. So sales work becomes of higher quality. You are not wasting time, you are not wasting effort, you are not wasting money. So you do things more efficiently. And instead of maybe 3 salespeople, you can do the same or maybe even more with 1 salespeople. Second thing, if you have proper sales process, it enables you as a founder or CEO of IT service company to delegate and control sales process at the same time. And typically it takes place over pipeline review meetings, right? Normally you have weekly meetings with your sales team where you review what is exactly in your pipeline, what are problems, what are opportunities, what is sales forecast, and so on. Third, sales process allows you to standardize a proven practice. So once you figure out what is the best way to sell your product, you can document it, you can standardize it, and once you do that, it allows you very easy to train additional people, to add new people, and for example, if you have well-described, mature sales process, then it's quite easy to open, let's say, office in foreign country, right? Because here is how we do sales, here is how we report, here is how we document leads, opportunities, and so on. So I would say that very small companies probably can survive without sales process, but as soon as you start to grow and as soon as you start to expand to other markets, actually you must have sales process. Otherwise, it's just too difficult to manage everything that's taking place. All right, now let's take perhaps a deeper look at this part of this revenue generation process, which relates directly to sales. So what we have here. So as a typical process, first of all, the sales process we can split into stages, right? And here in this case, our sales process is basically split in 4 stages. First stage is sales qualified lead. Second stage is called opportunity. Third is value proven. And fourth is deal negotiated. So these stages and this process can be different from company to company. Although I would say that generally for IT service sales, this type of process can work very well. Now let us go a bit detailed what is there. So first of all, roles. Typically in companies, they split sales roles in 2. And one is so-called sales development representative. Typically that's a younger person who's doing a lot of outreach, a lot of calls, a lot of follow-ups. So, and then there is another role, which is sales executive. Typically, you want to split these roles because sales executive works on closing really important big deals. And to have that person work on prospecting or follow-up, it's not realistic. They wouldn't have time, they wouldn't be motivated to do that. And sales development representative, from other hand, he's a guy who's only in charge of qualifying leads. So he makes quite a lot of research, qualify leads, follow-up, and so on. And the sales executive in opportunity stage, typically they qualify opportunity, they work with customer to develop opportunity. Typically they also involve some technical pre-sales, prepare sales forecasts, and so on. In value proven stage, and you don't always need this stage, but I would say that if you are selling complex services, it makes sense to have it. So in value proven stage, basically, the responsibility of sales executive is to demonstrate value, right? And typically they use technical team to prove value. So what does it mean, proving value? It means that you either demonstrate your product so that it obviously shows that it meets buyer's criteria. You do proof of concept project. You do perhaps a pilot project. Basically, you do work so that you can clearly demonstrate to your buyer that your product or your solution is meeting their requirements. And then obviously last stage, deal negotiation. So each stage has different objectives. And let's say in sequels phase, you basically want to generate sales qualified leads. We will talk about qualification a bit later in detail. In opportunity stage, you want sales executive to engage buyers, qualify opportunity, and also agree success criteria with customer, right? Because unless customer clearly knows what are their success criteria, it is very unlikely that you will be able to meet them and customer will be successful or customer will be able to ask budget. This is why I include this value proven stage as the next stage. So, and in value proven stage, typically you demonstrate the value, right? And again, it can be as simple as, you showing some kind of a demonstration or presentation, and as complicated as delivering proof of concept project. So, and if you demonstrate that you are meeting customer requirements, that's a good reason for customer to go ahead and purchase the solution, right? Then in each stage, you have quality criteria and expected results. So, for example, quality criteria for sales qualified lead stage would be lead qualification criteria and the fact that lead is accepted by sales executive, right? Then for a sales executive in opportunity stage, ideally we want opportunity development plan agreed with buyer and buyer team identified. So basically it's a simple plan agreed with the buyer, how we are progress with this deal, what are their success criteria, and how are we jointly work together on, let's say, proof of concept project or whatever we agree to do. In value proven stage, when quality criteria is that buyer has confirmed the demonstrated value in writing. Basically, they have said that yes, we have seen proof of concept, it meets all our requirements, we are happy to move ahead with closing the deal. And of course, there are certain expected results. There are also skills what you are looking for, materials that these people should use, right? Also, for the purpose of managing this process, it's very important to know what's the capacity of these people, because it doesn't make sense, let's say, for us to invest in marketing and generate, let's say, 50 leads per day if we know that sales development representative can only make calls to 20 leads per day, right? And similarly, also, sales executive has capacity and so on. Now, similarly as, let's say, with manufacturing, what happens during this process? Basically, there are more and more effort invested in each stage, because first, if we have only spent marketing money to generate lead, that's just a part of cost. Then we need to invest work to qualify lead. If it goes to opportunity stage, probably there are more people working on that. Maybe technical people, maybe some specialists. If you are proving value, quite certainly here is pre-sales engineer involved, maybe other technical people. If you are negotiating deal, if it's in negotiation stage, probably we involve legal team, we involve financial, maybe we involve CEO of company and so on. And respectively, deal also becomes more and more expensive in terms of time and effort invested. And therefore, it is super critical for us to always keep in mind this cost and check the quality of pipeline. So, a basic rule is that we never send garbage in system. You probably know quite well this saying or model, garbage in, garbage out. So if we start working with poor quality leads, it will bring poor quality results. If, as example, we are excited to work with junior employee at some big company, and if we work on opportunity, maybe even on value proven stage, but we have never figured out if the person actually has authority to make a purchase, if person has any sense where they are getting budget, and so on, that means we are wasting quite a lot of effort. So we do not want to do that. We don't want to invest work, we don't want to invest effort, we don't want to invest money unless leads are qualified. And I would say that for most companies, lead qualification is probably the most important thing in sales process. And the principle here is following, that unless lead is qualified, lead should never go to bother sales executive, right? So then lead dies somewhere in sales qualification phase, and it's not processed further in the system.
And now a few words about our new Masterclass and Challenge, how to market and sell IT services. The Masterclass and Challenge is an intensive 3-week online training program that I designed specifically for founders and CEOs of IT service companies. The program equips you with practical knowledge, tools, and templates to help you make key strategic decisions that are necessary for growth, attract more customers, increase prices, and start selling directly to business buyers in international markets. I'm Rolands Ozoliņš, the lead instructor and designer of this Masterclass. I invite you to explore the training program and consider signing up. In just 3 weeks, you will get concentrated knowledge of everything you need to know and do to grow your business and increase profitability. To make learning experience very practical, I have included a specific challenge that is a homework for you to design a growth plan of your own business under my guidance. Head over to the website to learn more. You will find a link in the description of this video. Now, back to webinar. I hope you find it useful.
So what are lead qualification criteria? Typically, companies are using 4, and I suggest using 5. What are these? So first of all, budget. So unless your buyer has some kind of idea how he's going to finance the project, it doesn't make sense continuing dealing with them. Second thing is authority, right? Here we look that buyer is a part of a purchase group or has a clear understanding how the project approval process will work. So if buyer has no idea where he's going money and how the project will be approved, again, that's a red sign. Do not process this deal further. You will be surprised how often you get to sales conversations with somebody who do not really have a need, right? So make sure that they actually have a need, that they have at least some idea about business case. Similar about timeline. If customer cannot say when they want this solution to be up and running, that's a red sign. Stay away from them because it will take forever and you will never complete the deal. And fifth, and perhaps most important, always make sure that actually customer can be successful. Because if you sell your services and customer fails, they will look for somebody to blame. Most likely, blame will go to you, their participants of this webinar, right? And also, if customer fails, probably they will be frustrated. They will start talking. Maybe they will start publishing bad reviews on Clutch and then elsewhere. So, and at the end, it will turn out to be very, very expensive project. And again, it may be a bit unbelievable, but I have seen quite a lot of buyers, even with budget and money, who has no idea what they are buying. They have no idea how to use these services, how to implement, how to train users, and so on. And in such cases, also stay away from such deal, right? Better invest more in marketing, generate more leads, so that you can choose whom you want to work with. Another important aspect is basically pipeline mathematics. So generally, on average in market, 10 to 20% of sales qualified leads are actually closed. So what does it mean? It means that if you want to close, let's say, 10 deals next year, you probably need from 50 to 100 sales qualified leads, right? And this mathematics stands. You can also calculate back how many marketing qualified leads you need, how much marketing investment, and so on. So basically, this pipeline approach allows you to do quite a lot of business modeling, forecasting, and so on. Next thing, regarding this sales process, it's super important that you build two things into process. From one hand, you build incentives. So basically, you're paying bonuses to your employees. And from other hand, you also want to have very tight quality control. So what does it mean? So for example, for sales qualified lead stage for sales or business development representative, typically you want to pay them bonuses for number of leads they generate. And if you are expecting 10 sales qualified leads per week, that's a good target, right? And this person will be very motivated to generate those sales qualified leads. However, you need to control that person. And the great way to control it is from the side of sales executive. So you only consider that lead is of good quality if it fits qualification criteria, and also if it is accepted by sales executive. Because sales executive obviously is motivated to accept more deals. He wants to sell more. From other hand, he's also very experienced and he knows which deals are poor and which he or she do not want to accept. Similarly with the sales executive, right? So generally, these people have sales quota and they are getting bonuses if quota is met. However, it creates problem because very often these people are motivated to inflate their forecasts or to inflate pipeline and say that I will deliver more deals than actually there are, right? So another thing, how you control this person, you want them to provide realistic sales forecast. So you also control whether the forecast they are saying they will sell meets with reality, right? So next thing, regarding sales process is that sales process actually allows you to make quite good financial forecasts. So how does it work? So if you have implemented sales process and if you already have clear statistics, so basically you have run it over and over and you know how much time deals spend in each stage and what is conversion rate. So basically what is the probability that deal will actually convert to closed deal. Then you can quite easily forecast your sales revenue. So let's take a look at this example. we see that in opportunity stage, there are deals worth 400,000 euros. And we know that it takes 30 plus 30 plus 30, basically 90 days to close those deals. Probability of closing is 40%. So if we multiply 40% with 400,000, so we know that after 3 months, we will probably have something around 160,000 euros revenue. And similarly with other stages, right? If we know that deal takes 30 days in each stage to close, then we can make forecasts about our revenue in upcoming month. So next month we expect 180, right? That would be because 200,000 we multiply by 90%, right? And in second month we also get 180 because we multiply 300,000 with 60%. Right, so that's the logics. By the way, I imagine you may have questions, but let us leave questions for the second part. There will be time for Q&A. All right, and we are not going in details today here, right? But this kind of sales process, marketing process approach actually allows us to model business growth down to costs, down to required human resources, down to sales forecasts in quite good detail. Again, we are not going here, but I just want to let you know that good sales process allows you to do quite a lot of modeling, plan, let's say, international expansion, calculate cash flow for launching, let's say, software as a service product, and so on. But okay, let's leave it a bit apart for today. So what sales success depends on? So I would say that first of all, it depends on sales process and sales enablement. So what does it mean? It means that your sales process must be well documented and your sales must be trained, because sales process planning doesn't happen in room somewhere. It's actually something that must be a routine, something that people use. So unless it's well documented and unless you have trained users, not users but your sales team, it will not work. Also, you need to provide for your sales team all kind of sales aids, things like presentations, slides, scripts, maybe competitive battle cards, and so on. Second element of success is discipline. So discipline must be really in place if you want to succeed with sales. So things like, for example, if you have a webinar, you must do follow-up in next 3 to 5 days. If you do it later, it's too late. You must stick to the process. You must not make exceptions. You must keep records in CRM updated. If you had a call with customer, you have updated in CRM. If you had an email copy must be in CRM. Another thing that I talked already about is that it's good to separate sales development representative and account executive roles. I realize not for many companies it is possible because you need quite significant flow of incoming leads to justify keeping separate headcount just for that, right? But as soon as you have that minimum level, I very much recommend separating these roles. And then, of course, as somebody, as a sales director or manager, must coach people and do pipeline reviews. So every week you need to keep track of how your pipeline looks like, how your sales forecast looks like. Maybe there's trouble coming, let's say in 4 months. Maybe you need to invest more in marketing, or maybe you need to start hiring more people because your sales forecast looks good and you have good reasons to believe that in 3 months from now you will need extra pre-sales engineer in your team. Another thing is that while we are talking today about sales process, you have to always remember that around 30% of all closed deals are generated by marketing. So marketing must be integrated, and marketing is actually the first stage of this revenue generation process. And another 30% of deals are generated in collaboration with marketing. So you need to support and you need to make sure that your marketing and sales team are really well collaborating together. And perhaps most important thing, before you are ready to implement sales process, before you are ready to delegate, is to be very clear about your strategic choices. So what do I mean by strategic choices? So strategic choices in service sales are things like choosing specialization, choosing ideal customer profile, preparing unique value proposition. So if you do at least those 3 things, right, then it becomes much, much easier to sell, grow your business, make higher profits, charge higher prices, and so on. Because as a result of that, it means that you are doing basically repeated processes. You are working with similar customers, solving similar problems. That allows you to increase your competency, get competitive advantage. Actually, your marketing and sales costs would go down. You would be able to deliver faster. You would be able to deliver at higher quality. And it opens doors for productizing your services, right? And productizing services, again, I will remind, is a topic of my previous webinar. So those who stay until end of this webinar will also get access to that webinar. And generally, I would say that a big challenge for most IT service companies is that many of them are trying to sell everything to everyone. But that is a really, really bad approach to business, right? So, and if you specialize, this allows you to charge more. This allows you to standardize your sales process, delivery process, and has much, much more other benefits. So let's talk about cold outreach. And just before that, I talked about strategic choices. And I would say that if you are doing cold outreach without making strategic choices, it will not work. So here is one example of email I got, and I'm sure many of you are getting similar emails with somebody trying to sell me remote software development assistance, right? And it turns out that they are proficient in various frameworks and technology stacks and excel in delivering tailored solutions. So would you buy it? I certainly would not. First of all, I don't have need for such services. Second thing, these people absolutely failed to explain how they can help my specific needs or how they understand my industry or anything else, right? So this doesn't work. And if we look at my own rules for cold outreach, so rule number 1 is never do cold outreach. Why not? Because it doesn't work and it actually annoys people. So are you happy when somebody is calling you or chasing you on email? Probably not. So do not chase others, right? But what to do? I really recommend you to consider doing, instead of cold outreach, doing warm outreach. So what warm outreach means and how does it work? So for warm outreach to work, first demonstrate competency and effort, then reach out to talk. So how does it work? For example, like today, run a webinar, reach out after. And by the way, some of you know that we also reached out before, just to make sure you don't forget to participate, right? Some of you will also receive calls from myself or my associate later. Second thing, let's say you can share an ebook and reach out to leaders, or you can write an article and reach out to people, or you can reach out to visitors of your website, right? In every case, it means that you reach out to people who are aware about you. You have had a chance to demonstrate some kind of competency. People were interested in your content, and that creates a good basis for conversation. And my experience is that with warm outreach, you can save time, you can save effort, money, and you don't annoy people as you do when you just do, plain cold outreach. Now, very important thing and very important concept in selling big service projects is to not actually sell big service projects, but instead focus your marketing and sales on selling a small, high-value first step product. So what do you want to achieve with the first step project? So as they say, you want to put your foot in the door. You want to get to conversation with customer. You want to have a chance to demonstrate your competence. You want to have a chance to build trust. Ideally, you want to have some kind of a short, maybe a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days collaboration with the buying group. So that it allows you to demonstrate your competency, work culture, value, answer any of their objectives, and so on. You also want to help these buyers to reach consensus in the group. So if everybody agrees that, okay, this service provider seems a good choice, it'll be much, much easier to sell. And ultimately, the reason you do it is because you want to convert them to big service projects. So what can be good first step offers? Things like perhaps a scoping workshop, an audit, maybe proof of concept project, MVP development consultation, strategy planning, perhaps some kind of partial functionality demonstration, maybe product discovery workshop, right? But think of what would be important for buyers to know or to do so that they would get answers to questions they have, so that they would feel at ease working with you. And this is a way how to really grow your business. And also, this first step offerings or products must not be free, right? Many of my customers are actually selling them, things like workshops, things like audit, and so on. So you can quite realistically also make profit with those first step offers and also bring in really big service projects. Now, how to sell your service or how to package your service as a first step product. So, and this is actually, I would say, quite simple. It requires quite a bit of thinking, decision making, and so on. But basically, for you to turn service into product, you need to answer, I think, 6 questions. So first of all, you have to be very clear what customer will get, how the process will look like, what inputs are needed from customer, like who must participate, when, what their contribution must be, what is the timeline, how long this will take or when it will happen. Then also very helpful is if you have some kind of customer evidence, customer quotes, logos, case studies that you can bring to table with the people who have passed the same process, the same product, and who are happy with it. And of course, you have to provide fixed price, right? And if you do it that way, it becomes very easy to make decision about purchasing this first step product. So you market first the product, you make sure you qualify for the first step product, because again, because you will be investing time and effort, you only want to deliver it to somebody who actually is qualified, who can buy, who can make decision, who can get budget. Deliver this first step, and it makes you much easier to deliver a big service business. With some customers that we were working with this business model, for them conversion rate of delivering this first step product to converting to big project is approximately 50 to 60%, right? So basically, you deliver 2 workshops, and that means you sell 1 big service project. All right, so let me now talk a bit about ourselves and how we can help you further. And I invite you to consider joining my 3 weeks masterclass and challenge. So this is a class, online intensive training, which I have developed specifically for founders and CEOs of IT service companies. And in 3 weeks, we go through everything that you need to know to be able to charge more, sell your products directly to end customers, develop first step offers, and basically grow your business. And as a part of this training, you will also be working on homework. You will be working on developing your own growth plan. Just recently, previous week, first class of this fall graduated, and now classes are open for start in next week, November 12th or January 7th. And right now, also, if you claim the offer right now, you can fix a 20% discount. So what's going on in this masterclass? In first class, basically we deep dive into heads of customers. We understand buying psychology, how decisions are made. I will share with you a number of templates and tools, such as specialization selection tool. I will share how you can create the list of your ideal customer profiles, and so on. You will also work as a homework on selecting and defining your specialization, preparing a list of your ideal customer profile. And from my side, I will also answer your questions, and I will do demonstration of how to practically use databases to get detailed information about your prospective clients all across the world. In second class, we continue talking about your strategic choices. We discuss how to sell to specific buyers, business buyers and technical buyers. We talk about how to develop unique value proposition, how to develop first offer product. I will also share with you proven funnel templates, and in homework you will be working on developing your UVP developing your draft funnel, and so on. And in third class, we are putting everything together, putting everything in action so that you have concrete plan. Again, I will share a number of tools and templates. And as a homework, you will create your own marketing, demonstration, outreach plan. So this is not the first time we are running trainings like that. And we have received very, very high evaluation. People and participants have been very, very happy. So I really kind of encourage you to claim the discount, explore the offer, and consider joining, because that will completely change the way you think about your service business. That will allow you to grow, charge higher price, sell directly to end customers, and basically build the future of your business. Now, let me talk a bit about who we are. So IBD Consulting, the company of which I'm a co-founder, we are a specialized company. We help technology companies to market and sell in B2B markets. Typically, it means breaking into international markets. So among our biggest customers, we have names such as Microsoft, Citrix Systems, also holding, and we frequently do trainings, speak at conferences. We have run hundreds of campaigns, and I have personally interviewed also hundreds of B2B buyers as part of buyer research. Myself, I'm a former Microsoft executive. I was also a sales excellence lead at Microsoft. I have worked on hundreds of demand generation campaigns all across the world, interviewed hundreds of B2B buyers. I'm also creator and lead instructor of this masterclass. And as you may know, I'm really passionate about increasing the profits, increasing the revenue of IT service companies in Eastern Europe. This is why this is already third webinar in a row that I'm talking about different aspects of growing your business. So again, about my offer, Masterclass and Challenge, full price is 900 euros. And if you sign up today, you will lock in 20% discount. So this is quite intensive, also interactive training. There is vibrant community. You can ask questions to me directly, privately at any time. You will have shareable online diploma. And it basically consists of over 8 hours of instructor-led live training, hours of additional video materials for you to review if you choose so, and also group coaching. All right, so now enough with the promotion and marketing of my offers. Let me answer your questions. So it would be great if you could ask questions in chat, and then I would answer them to best of my ability right now. It seems there are no questions, so that is all right. Here is Igor. Thank you very much. So question from Igor: will you be spending time with us individually, and how many academic hours does this course consist of? So first of all, yes, I will be answering your questions either publicly or in private. So if this is question which others would benefit from knowing answer to, it's better to ask publicly. If you want, you can ask privately. I will answer. Also, from my side, I will review your progress, your plan, and I will provide you private feedback about that. Second thing, how many academic hours does this course consist of? Well, you should plan to spend per week, I would say, at least some 4 hours on that. And I would say that 2 hours will go for a class, 1 hour will go for you to review materials, and another hour at least will be necessary for you to create your own plans, maybe to have meetings with your team, discuss, make decisions, and so on. So I would say 5 to 6 hours per week you should plan to invest of your own effort. Lee is asking how you deal with handovers from SDR to sales executive. There are a number of ways to do it. I think it would be best if there is, apart from entering CRM, also a conversation, right? So generally, I would say that it is best if when deal is transferred from SDR to sales executive, if it comes together with a summary that SDR has sent to customer after a call, basically summarizing the call, next steps, and so on. Question from Yelena. how to reach out to visitors via web page to get warm leads. I'm using a tool which is called Lead Info, and it basically allows to identify visitors, basically visiting companies, and then it provides also information about LinkedIn contacts from respective companies. And typically what I do, I add people whom I think might be the visitors to my LinkedIn, to my LinkedIn contacts, right? Basically, I invite them to join me, and then I'm using my contacts to invite them to webinars and engage them and so on. I'm not doing like direct outreach. I rather indirectly invite them. If this is repeated visits from contact I know or from somebody who was, let's say, at webinar, very often I call up them and just say, hey, I noticed that somebody from your company visited our page. So what's up? Are you interested in something specifically? Next question from Luca. Is LinkedIn email still a good way to engage prospects? There are, I would say the following, that yes, it is, but I still stand by my opinion that it is much better to engage warm leads. So I would, if I was reaching out, and probably some of you were actual persons I was reaching out, then I would attach something valuable, such as an article or webinar recording or something, so that I bring some value to the table. So reach out could happen this way. You write a person, hi, my name is this and that. I noticed that you have this position, and I thought maybe you would find useful my article or my webinar recording and so on. And just start by sharing, by giving something. And if the other party finds it valuable, it will be much easier to have a conversation. Question from Emil. How can we evaluate whether sales forecasts of the sales executive are realistic? It's a good question. In all honesty, you cannot, and you can only with experience, because it turns out that good salespeople are good at selling and manipulating not only external customers but also internal, right? So this is why you need strict quality criteria in your sales process, and this is why you need the sales process documented. So, for example, if there is a letter from customer confirming their success criteria for a project, and you know that you can meet this success criteria, it is all reasons to believe that this is strong opportunity, right? And also, if there is a customer approval that you have been able to demonstrate value for the solution, this is also a very clear signal that there's a good probability that you will be able to close this deal. That's why you have these quality criteria. All right. Any tips on working with vendors as a part of partner programs? Yakov is asking. Right now, it would be a bit difficult for me to answer, because I'm not sure I understand really the question. Anyway, Yakov, we had a rather deep dive webinar about managing partner channel, and maybe that is where you can find some answers. George Tudor, besides Masterclass, do you engage with customers to provide customized marketing, sales, consulting services? Yes, actually we do. Mostly, our value mostly lies in ability to help our customers with go-to-market strategy, with marketing and sales process implementation, creation of sales materials, coaching their team, and then actually helping to implement the process for, let's say, a few months, and then handing it over as a ready-to-use system which customers run on their own. We are also running demand generation campaign for some of our customers, but this we are gradually stepping away on behalf of delivering trainings and also helping with strategies. How many weeks the course program lasts? It lasts, so active phase is actually 3 weeks. So what does it mean? It means that over those 3 weeks, there is a class and Q&A session every week. And then there is 1 free week in between, During that time, I'm available to answer your questions. And then there's a wrap-up session. And again, this week at the end is specifically to give you time to make progress with your plans, with your planning, ask me questions, so that when we hand out these diplomas and certificates, you have a solid plan in place. Kristen is asking, all right, this I will mark as a question. Just to understand the concept, what could be the entry packages pricing be? Product like Pipedrive costs 20 euros a month and company has 50 employees, meaning 1,000 a month potential MRR, monthly recurring revenue, to sell CRM to company. What would be the entry package pricing be? Okay, this again is a bit difficult for me to understand. What do you mean by entry package pricing? Is it from position of Pipedrive, selling their products, or you selling, I don't know, Pipedrive implementation services, or what? So I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. Please try to clarify or reach out to me later. Svetlana asking, what's the current state of the IT services market, demand versus supply? And follow-up question, how do you train your students to stand out from the many copy-paste companies that are competing against diminishing market? Are these two topics you discuss in the masterclass? Yes. So first of all, what we see in market data, we see that, for example, in Poland, in recent years, numbers of very small IT companies, which very often are one-person companies, has significantly increased. This suggests me that perhaps some large employers have been letting their people go. Second thing, doing competition analysis in IT industry, in IT service industry area, I have noticed that there is a number of companies who have poor financial situation and who have decreasing number of employees. Also, what I hear from peers and friends is that IT services industry is in some kind of downturn. So that I can confirm. Second thing, how do you train your students to stand out? So this is one of the central topics of Masterclass, because we talk at length about things like specialization, ideal customer profile, creating unique value proposition. So that's the central thing, actually, what we talk about. So these are, so how to stand out is certainly a topic that we discuss. And yeah. All right, Oleg asking, what's the proportion between theory and practice? I would say the following, that apart from psychology or buyer's behavior, or how people are making decisions based on their psychology, there's almost no theory. The concepts that we are talking about are proven marketing and sales techniques, like, for example, creating buyer's persona. It's a very specific process with very specific templates. So there's not much theory around it. And regarding practice, then I show you demonstrations, I show you examples whenever relevant. Also, for example, I show you how to create ideal customer profiles in databases, or how to access European Union statistics database, just to understand how big market for your services, and so on. Martin is asking, what materials will be available during workshop? Will there be some kind of presentation or workbooks available? Yes. So how it works? Actually, we have a Teams channel, and after every class, I edit video recording and publish. So lesson 1, lesson 1.1, and so for each lesson you have a video recording, which typically is from maybe 3 to 15 minutes, and also you have templates, tools, examples, additional materials. So there is quite a lot of materials available. Workbooks as such we do not have, but we have quite a lot of templates. For example, template to create buyer's persona, template to create UVP, and so on. So this part is covered quite well. All right, Kristen, thank you for clarifying. So Kristen writes that, so if they are a company like Pipedrive, where monthly price is low, what price range can the workshop, etc., cost for customer be, and how much they are ready to pay? Again, let me answer it this way. If you're a company like Pipedrive, so one thing is selling your product, and for selling your product at value of 10,000 euros, you would not be willing to invest too much, right? Probably you will send that customer through the self-service or telesales channel, and that's it. However, if you are selling services around Pipedrive, basically designing, let's say, sales process or helping to implement automation, train employees, and so on, then I would say the value of your workshop or your work can easily be 5,000, maybe even 10,000, and so on. It very much depends on the business case and on customer buying vision. If customer is implementing Pipedrive at a monthly price of 10,000 euros, but if they are implementing Pipedrive to make million in extra revenue, for them to pay 10,000 euro or 20,000 euro to make sure that they are successful with this implementation, that wouldn't be a big deal. So just to summarize, the driver for the price of this first step offer is the big business case rather than what they are paying for product. So question from Dennis, will this deck be available? He wants to propose it to one of his clients. I think it is available. I don't know how to download it, but it may be available right now in this webinar tool. Anyway, I will make sure I share it with you, because questions are recorded, and Dennis, I'll share with you. Yes. All right. Very good. I really appreciate all the questions I'm getting, because it suggests me that what we are discussing about is really important and useful for you. All right. If there are no more questions, then thank you for participation. And as I mentioned, I will also share with you recordings of a couple of other webinars, namely how to sell IT services. This talks quite a bit about making these strategic choices. And another webinar is how to sell services as products, because probably we know all from experience that buying a product is so much easier than buying a service. So if you manage to package your service as a product, it becomes much easier to sell. So I highly recommend those both of those two webinars. And again, I invite you to join the masterclass. Question from Jan is how you worked in EU and USA markets. Yes, in EU market we work basically all the time. Mostly we work in EU market. We actually work quite little in local market. In USA we have worked on couple of campaigns, but if you are looking for a large scale entry into US market, probably you should look maybe for some other company to work with. US market and big scale in US market is not something that we have deep experience with. All right, thank you, Gordana. Thank you, everyone, and let's see each other online at next online event. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.